I think I just accidentally hit Siri. Hey, what's up, everybody? You are watching Ready Set Drone. We are here tonight. This is Speed Dial, and I couldn't be happier tonight because normally when I do Speed Dial, I have to do all this preparation and research on people and get questions ready and all this stuff. But tonight, because I've got Ken Dono in the house, we're just gonna shoot the what about drones. How you doing, Ken?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Thanks for having me on again.
Oh man, thank you for being here. So we have a lot of stuff going on in the drone community. I mean, obviously with spring coming up, people are starting to fly a lot more.
Yeah.
You were actually just telling me kind of a cool story about flying through somebody's house. Doing,
Yeah.
can you talk about that or no?
I'm gonna
You want to
wait
wait?
until it releases. Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
wait to talk. We'll wait to talk about that one. I want it to be a surprise. I also gotta. There's some things that need to be signed off on,
Okay. Okay. Well, and
but
and
we will
we
talk about that one. That's gonna be cool.
we were talking a little bit about just because these little FPV quads are getting to be so easy to fly inside and so kind of padded. This guy's got
Yeah.
some little rubber around the outside that you don't have to worry too much about banging into stuff. What is your go-to for Cinewoop stuff right now?
Um. So for like professional Cinewoop stuff, I'll typically use a squirt, and I use a
Okay.
squirt from Quad Standard Labs. They're actually out of Texas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Troy, I know Troy.
yeah, Troy. So he built me a Cinewoop. This was the first Cinewoop that I ever had. And he tuned it, and it's just, dude, it just flies
So it's a
so
squirt
well.
squirt frame.
It's a squirt. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
squirt frame. I mean, it's bigger than obviously what you have there,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's also capable of bouncing off of things pretty good. Like you're not going to
yeah.
tear something up, obviously, but it flies really well. And then if I'm doing something that requires to be under a certain weight, then I'm using the Beta 95X, and I actually still run analog for the Beta 95X. I don't run digital for that one
Okay.
because trying to get through like a house or something, you need that penetration, and sometimes digital gets a little laggy and blocky, and
Yeah.
I don't have those problems with analog. Like it's just a constant, same latency no matter what. Just it may have some more breakup.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that as far as going through multiple walls because I've been doing more indoor
Yeah,
flying. Um, you find that analog actually does a better job flying through a house, like as far as
analog
I
analog
know you
has
get
better
the breakup.
penetration. Yeah,
Okay.
you're gonna get the breakup, and I think a lot of times like people will misinterpret breakup for penetration, but you actually get really good penetration through obstacles and through brick with analog versus digital. Because what happens with digital is you're gonna get that lag because the signal's not traveling as fast, and that lag and that latency that you're seeing can actually be sometimes dangerous to people around you, or even dangerous for the fact that you may lose your quad or you may have to start all over again. As to where with analog, you just always have the same latency. You just have to fight through a little bit more breakup. So it's sort of a trade-off.
Well, and ultimately, if you're recording with an external camera, it isn't like
Yeah,
you're too worried about
not
what the
at all.
record
Not
feed
at
looks
all.
like. So
Yeah,
speaking of that, because you and I started to talk
yeah.
about this before we came on, and this is something that I am super interested in because I'm just now um, getting to the point where I want to invest in either a naked GoPro or the SMO from Insta360. Do you have experience with either of those
Yeah,
and
I
any
do.
preference?
So my preference is a naked GoPro.
Okay.
100%. Like you're not going to be able like you can't buy one already done. Like the SMO you can buy, obviously it's already decased. It's as light as it possibly can be.
Like 30 grams or something.
It's 30 grams, but you can get a naked GoPro, a Hero 6, down to I think like 25 or 22 grams, something crazy. It's super light. I like that because I can run it through Real Steady, and I have a little bit more flexibility. And I feel like Real Steady does a better job of stabilizing than the stabilization from Insta One. I mean, I like their products. Don't get me wrong, great product, but the color science and the stabilization options are just far superior on the GoPro. Even the low light capabilities, I feel, are a little bit better.
Well, and we're talking about Real Steady is what a several $100
It's
program, right?
No, no, not at all. Actually, it's actually really affordable.
Really?
I bought it when it was $69.
Really?
You can get it off and on for like 70, $80. I
Okay.
mean, I'm not discounting the fact that you're paying 80, $90 for a program, but still, I mean, if you're going to be using it often, then it's worth it, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
a tool.
my
And
buddy
then once you
Vinny
buy it, you own it.
my buddy Vinny has been using Real Steady, and he's a big fan of it, and showed me what he could do with it versus just the standard, either Rock Steady or Hyper Smooth. So
Right.
it's pretty awesome.
It's honestly it's witchcraft. Matter of fact, I used it for a couple of clips while I was in Colorado. I hit the camera with some Real Steady, and it just smooths out a lot of the bumps, and it just looks a little more fluid.
She's a
So
witch. She's a witch.
yeah,
Burner.
I'm telling you.
Hey, by the way, Artco Drone Solution, thanks for joining the flight crew, Artco. Artco Drone Solutions just set up his own channel membership stuff and had some cool stuff
Nice.
going on his channel. If you get a chance, go over and check out. He had an announcement. He's talking about basically trying to get more people with physical disabilities into drone flying, and he's becoming an ambassador for that. Is what he said.
Nice.
So yeah, so I
Well,
was pretty
good.
psyched about
Good to hear.
hearing about that. So thank you for joining my channel. Glad to be a member of yours. I see Art. I see Art. Of course, Brad is in the Brad is in the chat there. I saw Harley FPV in the chat there. I see Mike B, Dustin, Doc Murdoch is in the chat. Chris Hope is in the chat. Zeb Meat, Mike B, the Drone Ranger, Gene Fox. We got a good crew here tonight.
Got
And
them all.
these folks are people who uh, not only visit all of our channels, but are people that you've gotten to know, or I've gotten to know, personally over the
Right.
last 2 or 3 years. I was telling Ken earlier that I am very, very close to having a signed deal for Spin Up 2021 for a physical location, but I don't want to announce it until I've got that signature. So the folks I'm working with are supposed to get back to me next week with the final pricing and contract and everything. And if it's all good, I'll announce Spin Up 2021 on my first Friday next week. But we're looking at early November is the time frame that I'm trying to do it. And
And that's a good time to announce it because it gives people enough time to prep. Whatever it is you want to get done beforehand, and you get it done, and you come out to spin up.
and do you see and early November feels like a good time too, because it's before you get into the holidays
Yeah,
really. The weather here in Texas is certainly a lot nicer at that time.
because I think we've done December.
Yep, we've done
We've we've
December twice.
we've done October
Yep, we did October 2 years
last
ago,
year.
and
No,
last
it
year
was
was last year was September 12th.
okay. Last year was September. That was a little bit earlier. Um, I feel like December was the best for me. Like that was really solid because it was weather wise it was good. It was a nice
Oh, dude, it was
change of
so
pace.
pretty that day, and it was that was at the Dale Diamond. I remember it was one of
Yeah,
those days where there was no humidity. It was really sunny. It was cool, like in the 50s or 60s outside, and everybody's just flying drones around in the stadium. It was
that
crazy.
was really cool. I'm looking forward to if you lock it down for November. November would be great too, just to have a nice change of pace for weather because like it's super humid now. And now
Yeah.
I got a little bit sick when I came home this past
Oh,
week.
from
I had
from
like
Colorado.
yeah, I had like a little bit of a chest cold for like a day or so. I was like coughing and hacking. Just and my nose was super stuffy. Like as soon as I touched down, I was like, oh man, this is gonna suck.
Do you have
So
allergies? Like, is that a thing in Florida?
yeah, I get allergies. I get pollen like when the pollen counts get high.
Yeah, same
Like my
here.
eyes will start watering.
Yeah.
But it was just super dry. Like my face is still like I'm still peeling. Like I didn't have any issues with sun. Like I had the mask on the entire time, so I don't know how I would have gotten any sun. But my skin was like so dry and peeling. Like if I was in like I had sunburn, but I don't. It was just windburn. So
Maybe
it's
maybe it's
really
just
really weird.
that bright essence of Sean Oz burning.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. It's probably the snow. It's probably the snow.
So yeah, man. I watched a little bit of content from you guys while you were up there. You got you got some new ink from Sean.
Yeah, man. I got
Um,
some. He gave me
let can we see it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's probably gonna be pissed. I took the little that he had like this little sheath on it, and it's been like to me, it's like it's been a week. So I took the sheath off, and I'm just like putting the stuff on the ointment on there, but it's fine. It's healing fine.
And it's your bird, right?
Yeah, it's literally
Yeah. So the bird is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a fairly recent thing on your channel, right? I mean, within the
so
last
it
6 months or so.
It's been about like 6, 7 months. Actually, December is when we conceived this. So we had the other logo, which the other logo is like sort of like borrowed from, I forgot where I got the design from, and I wasn't really ever really happy with that logo. So I found a guy that Russ from 51 Drones mentioned I should talk to. He's on Instagram. He's called the Mamba Designs,
Nice.
and I reached out to him and I said, I want to do his design. I want something simplistic. I want a couple of different things. And we talked on the phone a couple times. We FaceTimed, and he sent me a couple of designs. I was like, I don't really know. He goes, well, give me a day or so. Let me come up with something. Let me really dig deep. I'm like, I need like an icon or something. And then he messaged me. He texted me. He's over in Germany, and he's
Oh,
like, and he messaged me. He goes, what do you think about the dodo? And I said, if you make the dodo to where it has attitude, I think that would work. He goes, it's sort of like a play on your name and your word. And it's funny because like
yeah, yeah,
people used to make fun of me all my life. Oh, you're a dodo bird. I don't care because I fly still. But yeah, and then when he showed it to me, it was like the first revision. I was like, that's it,
dude.
that's it.
It is so cool.
So
I'm glad to know who did it because I did figure there was a tie-in to Dono, Dobo, Dodo, all those
yeah,
things. And it does have attitude. It actually has a lot of attitude. It's got the hat, kind of just like you do with the backwards hat. No,
and
it's a
and and
badass
that's and
logo.
that's the thing is like you can't get that same level. Like a lot of times when people are trying to develop a brand or develop a logo, they'll hit up Fiverr. And
Yeah,
the problem with Fiverr that I have is that there's no connection to the artist that you're working with. Like you're telling somebody, but they really don't know you as a person, and they don't know what you're trying to convey. So like when I talked to him, I felt like he was trying to get to know me, understand me a little bit more, understand my character. And then once he did that, he was like, as soon as he nailed it, like first try. I was like,
yeah.
holy shit.
No, it is a
So
really really cool logo, and like I said, I noticed it because you used to have this sort of almost like a
yeah,
four leaf
it looked
clover kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it sort of looked like a drone almost, like almost like a Cinewoop sort of.
Yeah,
But we 86'd all that, and then we went with that. So we have a couple of different birds. Like we have the white bird with the X, that's the FPV logo, and then we have this bird, which is the channel logo, and then we have just the Dobo. So we got like a couple of different things to play with, which gives you good flexibility. It's important to have multiple things, especially for branding, merchandise, and all that stuff. You got to be full circle.
so just like the flight crew here,
Ex-
right?
exactly. You have your different shirts, and it keeps things interesting and fresh for the people that want to take part in your channel.
And by the way, I do want to say thank you to everyone who is in the flight crew. If you see a little logo next to people, that is the either the military, the Air Force wings, or
Actually, that
the
looks
Ready
pretty
Set
good.
Drone. So for that logo, I've always been curious about this. How did Sean, like? Did you have an EPS file that he printed, or a vector file that he printed, and then he does a stencil on you, or how did that work?
So yeah, I gave him a PNG file, and then he made the PNG file basically transparent, like sans any color.
Okay,
So it's just basically a stencil. He puts it on the arm. I don't know what he printed it to, but whatever he printed it to, it stuck to the arm.
yeah.
And then from there,
And
he
then you
had
and
a
then you cried
photo.
like a little girl, I remember.
I did. Well, he went pretty hard a couple times. Um, but he sort of freehanded the shading. All the shading that's all on him. That's just because he's talented. He knows what he's
Yeah.
doing. But yeah, he's like, he goes, we're gonna improve this. We're gonna make it a little bit better because he goes, it's going on skin. It's different than if we're drawing it. The shading's not gonna stand out the same. So like he knows all these things. So I felt comfortable letting him do ink. So if I go and get
Yeah.
more ink, he'll be the one that I let do it.
I mean, it's a lifetime commitment, basically.
Yeah, and he knows that,
Yeah.
and he
Well,
knows that.
if you haven't watched the if you haven't watched the video of Ken getting his tattoo, it's probably a little bit much to watch the whole thing. But I scrubbed through it,
Yeah,
and every time I paused and started playing at different times, it was hilarious. It was like, okay, this is pretty funny stuff.
yeah.
So
I had a few like before we got up there, and then the cops walked in as we're doing it.
and and
So
and and you're at altitude, right? So everything hits you a little bit
and we're at
harder.
altitude, so everything hits you just a tiny bit harder. And we were super tired. Like we flew all day. Like I was super exhausted. I was, when we first went out flying, I was like in jeans and a sweater, just like a hoodie. And I'm thinking, this is more than enough. It's not that cold. Get up to the top of the peaks, and it's just like you're freezing your ass off. And it's like, holy
Did you go
crap.
up to the Loveland Pass or
We
to?
did, because that's where they were doing some backcountry snowboarding. And it was one of those situations where I probably could have lost that FPV drone a few times. The first time I took off, my hands were so cold, it felt like somebody was ripping my fingernails out with
Oh,
pliers. And
oh,
I
I
was
hate when
I was
that
telling
happens.
Sean, I said, I need gloves, man. I can't fly like this, because I was like almost in tears, because it's just like they weren't defrosting.
Yeah.
And I almost took out a row of snowboarders because I couldn't steer, because it was just so bad. So I ended up flying from the truck. But you don't have as much range with the FPV drone. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the mountains, the snow. I don't know what it is, but I just found like my range was completely cutting half
Really?
flying. Yeah, it was
So
weird.
it was
Very weird.
Sean's DJI FPV, right?
No, I brought my own. I brought mine with
Oh,
me.
okay. So you both had,
Yeah, we both had them.
I have yet to fly with somebody with two DJI FPV drones. I assume that there's
Works
no
perfect.
problems with interference, right?
You don't have to worry about, like, remember like when we were flying DJI FPV, you plugged in, knocked me out of the air. I
Yes, yes,
forgave
I
you.
do remember. Thank
Um,
you.
but it basically, like, Sean could plug in and I could plug in and we were fine. Like, it's perfect.
Huh.
It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I mean, they've got that down with it isn't like every time somebody fires up a Mavic and there's another Mavic in the air, there's a problem. So I guess with OcuSync and
No,
all that.
it was pretty cool. We went to an abandoned ghost town, and the only thing was is like what we kept doing was calling out where we were. Like, so I knew, where he was relative to where
Yeah,
where he
yeah,
was. So
yeah.
that way we didn't accidentally collide, because if we would have collided there, we would have had a trespass to get the drone back, and or climb down a cliff to get it, which at that point we were just going to say screw it, leave it. Uh
Dude,
but
we've
yeah.
already done that. We've already done that with Ken Heron's drone in the
Yeah.
swamp. So
Yeah, well,
that's how Big Al came to be, right?
that's how Big Al came.
And
Exactly.
by the way, I do want to thank Drone Life RC for joining the flight crew. That's two new members tonight. That's a
Hey,
I haven't got two new members in one show in a long time, so that's pretty awesome.
there you
Thank you.
go.
So you also snowboarded a bit, right?
I we'll call it. I attempted to snowboard. You know what? I remember growing up. I watched on Disney Channel Johnny Tsunami.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not like, it's not like Johnny Tsunami. It's a lot harder. Sean makes it look so easy. Like,
he
as he's
does.
ripping down, and he's got the GoPro and he's talking and stuff. I'm thinking, this is like surfing. I surf, I skateboard, I surf. This is the same. There's this thing called the edge of the board, and you got to watch it as you're going down. And I must have ate it like 12 times. If I had any trolls out there and they were all on the hill, they would have been loving it, because I mean, I was flipping over. Just, it looked like somebody was just knocking me down 20 times over.
It's
That's
also
how bad it
known as the
was.
mouse trap. When you catch that edge
Oh,
and you just go just like a mouse trap right into the.
terrible.
It's pretty awful.
But
But
he walked me through it, though. Like,
he's a good
we took
teacher.
baby steps. He is a good teacher. He took baby steps, and the other thing was cool. His buddy was out there, and he was super patient. Like, they could have went and just ripped down the mountain and said, screw this guy, we'll leave him to his own devices. But they both sat there. I think it was Josh,
Okay.
sat there and just made sure that I was comfortable enough. They got me to a point where they can take me up to the top, and I can go down. I fell a few times, but I was able to come down, and it was fun. It left me wanting to go back up and fly again, but I will tell you, it was super, super tiring,
Oh
because
God,
from
yeah.
from sea level
Sea level
to,
to 9,000 feet.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
was defeated. Like, I was like, my mouth was dry. So I think next year, one of the things I'm gonna do is bring a backpack, have plenty of water with me, because that's the key to not tiring yourself out. And then I'm gonna definitely stretch before I actually start snowboarding, because I mean, I found muscles I never knew I had.
Well, and did you guys? It sounds like you got to chase some backcountry boarders too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, man. It was fun. It
were
was
these
fun. Yeah, they were
buddies?
letting us chase.
These
These
were
were buddies
buddies of
of
his.
Sean's.
Okay.
Yeah, these
Wow,
were
that's
buddies of
awesome.
Sean. And they were really cool about it. They let me get super, super close to them. And one of the guys had a Skydio. and it was cool because I was well underneath the Skydio, and the Skydio was staying up tall.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
So you
so
had
the
both perspectives.
yeah, so the shots we were able to get with the FPV drone were so much more dynamic than the Skydio shot because I was in full control over how close I was to the subject, and it just looked super epic. It was an awesome time.
So
So the
so
FPV drone is amazing.
so where is that footage in a video already?
Yeah, I just put the video out a couple of days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like right in the opening of the video, that footage is there. We got more. It's just I haven't sifted through all of the footage. We filmed basically nonstop for what felt like I think it was like 3 days.
Yeah, yeah, no, and that's, I mean, it's awesome because that's going to give you content that you can produce
Oh
and
yeah,
put
it's
out for the
it's
next few weeks at least, if not
and
more.
flying in the snow. FPV in the snow is very difficult because the snow
Yeah,
is white
yep,
and the glare
yep.
is hitting you in the face as you're in the goggles, and it's just like it's hard. And I was filming in Cinelike to top it all off, which
Yeah, which
really
makes
reduces
everything
the
flat.
contrast.
Doesn't give you the
Yeah.
contrast. Yeah, yeah. No,
So
I actually saw that in, you mentioned that in one of the videos. I guess it was the tattoo video, maybe.
very, very,
Or
very tough to fly.
well, so and how did the batteries? By the way, I want to just say thank you to Ben real quick for the super chat. So Ben says he's watching in the middle of a thunderstorm, and
Oh,
Ben's actually here in Austin. So I don't
okay.
know if it's coming up because I don't have a thunderstorm going yet, but I think he's in South Austin. So maybe Ben, let me know if there's a thunderstorm coming. Um, because this would be the night the power would go out. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here doing this,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, so how did the batteries do in the cold? Was it harder to fly or less flight time with the batteries
Um,
being cold?
I really didn't notice any less flight time. Actually, the batteries did better than my quads I brought. I brought quads out with me, and I think the batteries did pretty damn good. I was still getting about 10 minutes of flight time out of acro mode. Um, but in just like hovering, the best part about it was what I would do is I would fly to the ridge where they were going to drop because I was down like way down and they were
Oh,
going
so
way up.
you were, so they were above you, and you
They
were
were
you were
above me.
chasing them down.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would go up to the ridge and I would land. I'd put it in normal mode and I would land on the rock or wherever it was.
Yeah.
And then I would flip it back into manual mode. And as soon as they gave me the green light that they were going to take off, then I would arm to props and then I would go chasing after them. So that way I was able to preserve a pretty good amount of battery life. Now,
You were just
did it
like
look
hovering, waiting for them.
no, because I didn't want to use the battery, but I also didn't want to take my eyes out of the goggles because the
Right.
adjustment period, it's just so bright. Like if you've never been in the snow in the mountains like that, it's the brightest thing with the exception of just like looking at the sun. That's
Oh
that's what it
yeah.
looks like.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
It's just this glare that's coming off, and so and then if you're in the goggles and you come out, yeah, I can imagine it would be just
so
absolutely
it took a lot. It took a lot to get adjusted to that, but that was saving me from having to constantly readjust. Is just like set it down on the ground, and you couldn't do that. You wouldn't be able to do that with a normal quad. Because the chances of it, arming again may not be as great as the FPV drone.
well. And also, one of the things that I really appreciate about the DJI FPV is honestly, I never land that thing in acro mode. Like it's very
I don't
difficult to
either.
land in acro mode. It just I always end up flipping over or just because it's kind of
It,
it's not it's a little top heavy, honestly.
it, it,
Um,
it is, and
and so
that's what I
so if
didn't
you
understand.
if you use the just put it into normal mode to take off or land and then flip it into acro. Although actually you've done the thing where you have it hovering in normal mode and then you have to line up those little dots to get it into acro.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's always kind of weird, right?
Well, it always freaked me out, and that's why like people were like, "Well, how come you don't take off in normal mode?" And it's like, because I'll sit there and play around with those dots, trying to get it back into manual mode, and sometimes I just can't get it. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, or I'll get it, and I'm just, it's not 100%. But I've gotten better at doing that. It's just not something that I want to do. Oh, look who it is!
Look who it
What's
is.
up?
We were just talking about you.
Ears
I
must have
thought
been
I'd
ringing.
leave the shop and come out and have a nice, beautiful background.
Are you so your client is done? You said you were
Yeah, I
working on a tattoo?
finished them and then mad rushed over here after putting it back at 7:30. Sign up just to have this background instead of being in the shop.
It looks awesome. It's still really light there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day.
And dude,
Actually, I'm burning up. I got a hoodie on, and it feels like it's 100 degrees out. So I probably don't need this.
Ken was saying about getting to chase the snowboarders with the FPV drone. That I mean that I've done a little bit of chasing, obviously other drones, remote control airplanes, bicycles, and stuff like that, but never a snowboarder. That's got to be a blast.
Well, next winter when we do this again, you'll have to chase me.
Dude, that would be awesome. So, and for those guys on the backcountry stuff, do they hike up there, or there's no lift, right?
It depends. Yeah, there's no lift. Where I brought Ken is Loveland Pass, the same spot we took the mini with Ed,
Yep.
and you can actually snowboard there. And so you drive to the top, you ride down, and then you hitchhike back up.
Kelly, they literally hitchhike on the way back. Like people will randomly pick them back up. And this is the craziest thing. He comes back up, he's got beer. I'm like, where'd you get a beer? And he goes, oh, one of the guys that picked us up had a cooler and he told us, take whatever we want. So people are like, they know the snowboarders are there. So they're like, hey, hop in the back of the truck or hop in the back of whatever and we'll give you a ride back. It's the weirdest. It's a whole new world. That's for damn sure.
That would never happen in Florida or Texas,
No, if you hitchhiked here, you're probably going to get, like
End up on the
abducted or
news.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be in the news or something, or on the side of a milk carton.
Well, Sean,
That's funny, Kelly.
how's your acro flying coming?
It's really hard to learn in the snow. Everything's what it was nice because when Ken came up here, he verified because like I have the hardest time judging how high I am off of things because everything's starting to melt, so I think it's going to become easier. But
Yeah.
during the winter, it's really difficult because I can't tell how close I am to the ground.
I have a hard
It is
time
very
telling
hard.
how high I am too. Sometimes I'm like,
Even in Texas.
no, I meant it was a joke. Like how high I am.
Oh,
I got it.
Dude.
Colorado joke. I got you.
Yeah,
So
Colorado.
I was trying to do a little bit of trivia and say if anyone recognized where I was, but I think Brad's already recognized it in the chat.
Are you by the lake?
I am. Well, that is. Let me turn around. You guys recognize that pavilion?
Oh yeah. You're at that park.
Yep. I came over here just because I thought it'd make a cool little spot
Sweet.
to for the people who had been here before.
Is the lake still frozen?
Partially. I don't think I would walk out on it right now.
People still ice fishing on it?
Maybe in spots. A lot of it's starting to melt. I'm looking at it now, and the edges are all melted. There's probably a good 5 to 10 feet of melted ice on the sides.
Did you take Ken? Did you take Ken out onto the frozen lake or near it?
Hell no.
Have you ever been on one, Ken?
No.
First time I ever went on a frozen lake. The only frozen lake I've ever walked on, and I've done it 3 times now, was that one. And it is kind of mind blowing if you've never been on a frozen lake because
I just can't get around. Like I don't know. I didn't tell you I was having I'm starting to have mental breakdowns when I'm flying on airplanes now.
No, what for?
Yeah, I don't know. I just had I had a nervous break. I was telling Sean I had a nervous breakdown on the airplane coming up to him because there was so much turbulence. It was just the worst turbulence I've ever experienced on a flight.
Well, the thing with airplanes that makes me anxious is when I'm on the inside seat and I can't get out. I feel sort of claustrophobic if I'm sitting on the window seat.
Well, I would have felt better if the captain would have just, gave some sort of feedback hey guys, we're experiencing turbulence. Just say something, anything. When I got off the plane, I've never called a captain an asshole, but I was like, you're an asshole. You really are. Just say something. Something would have been better than nothing.
Yeah,
just say, keep your seatbelt fastened. This is going to pass. Instead, he left my stomach in knots for 2.5 hours. I couldn't even enjoy my peanuts. I didn't even eat my Reese's Pieces.
Was that going to Colorado or
Colorado?
Back? Okay.
No, to Colorado. The lady next to me is reading the Bible. Never a good sign. I'm just like, this is a sick joke if I ever saw one. I was absolutely sick.
Sorry to hear that. That's a sign of getting old, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think the older I get, the more anxiety, the more anxious I get. But then all of that went out the window. I get off the plane, he's there, and then it's just you hit the ground running, and it's just you forget about it until you got to board the plane again.
Yeah, I don't know if he told you, Kelly, but I had him pretty much go, go, go the whole
Yeah, he
time.
did.
He
The
told me
only
those
reason that
exact
he didn't.
words.
Oh,
He
yeah,
said Sean's
me.
all gas and no brakes.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
why I
I
let off
was
a
I
couple.
was honestly depleted. I never take day naps. And we got back from snowboarding. I mean, I was passed out for like a good solid hour, just trying to regroup.
And you got new ink. And by the way, Sean,
Yeah,
that dodo that you did on him looks amazing.
Thank you.
I love that logo and I love what you did with it. Oh, hey,
Appreciate it.
Wicket. Is that Wicket?
Yeah, she's trying to, yeah, I have both the dogs with me. I'm trying to get them used to coming with me every day to the shop because
Oh.
life changes coming up.
Well, so is Wicket okay with being around people like in public and all that?
Yeah, she's just whining.
just as
She
long as
wants
she's
to
got food.
explore right now.
Hmm. And Sean, what's going on with your channel? I mean, have you got anything like any cool products that you're looking at right now? Any skateboards? Anything like that?
Product wise, I mean, I'm still eyeballing the Baja board, which is independent springs on each
Ooh.
wheel, 10-inch wheels, mountain board. That's $4,000 though, so I don't think it's going to be happening this summer. But I've been eyeballing like gas powered surfboards because I want to make a
Oh
trip
yeah.
and come down. I found a place there by you that does those. I thought it'd be pretty cool to come down to Austin, bring like some of the GoPros, and show how well the GoPros handle working in water.
Yeah,
And doing
yeah.
that. So I
And
thought maybe once I
are
get
you
my
talking
living
about
situation.
the hydrofoils, the ones that come up out of the
Nope,
water, or
nope.
just on top
I've
of the
looked at
water?
those too. This one's on top of the water. It's more like snowboarding. You get that feeling of just really carving in the water, sort of like snowboarding.
And it's gas powered.
They have a gas and electric version. Yeah,
Brrr.
yep. It's like a little jet ski, basically. Yeah.
Sweet. Sweet. Yeah, no, I'm pretty psyched about that. Well, I know that you had been working on a snowboard that actually you just recently got a copy of it, right? They sent you one?
Yes. Yes. Ken was actually there in the car. He probably had no idea what I was doing, but
I
I
had
got
no
so
idea.
excited.
I'll compare it to this. Have you ever seen the Christmas Story where the father gets the lamp? That's what it
Yes,
looked
yes.
like. He's like, it's here. It's here. I mean, that's like, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking to myself, like, this is like the Christmas Story. And he's
That's
unboxing it right there. You know, you get everybody
It
to
was
come out there
really
so he can
cool.
unbox it. It's pretty bored, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
I was very happy to see it because I wanted to promote it and stuff, but I wanted to see what it actually came out looking like before I really put my name behind it promoting it. So it took a few weeks to get one to me, but now that I've got one to me, it's the end of the season. No one's buying them, so they're going to be making them next season still.
Yeah.
And I'm working on now a second version of it for a powder board. So there'll be a regular like board and then the powder board. Like,
Have
and
you
they'll be a little
ridden
different.
have you ridden it yet?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun
Nice.
board.
Nice. And what's it retail for?
I think it's 5 something.
Oh man.
But you can save money. I think it's what, $60?
Yep.
With Sean Ozz VIP. All caps. Sean
Yep.
Ozz VIP.
All right.
You go to Gilson. Oh, Wicket, what are you doing?
Well, so also speaking of Ken, you posted something on Twitter. I think it was earlier today about and you had mentioned to me about your 3D printing business. How is that going?
The 3D printing just blew up, man. You know,
He's killing it.
I didn't realize like there was such a need for it. So it's doing really well. So, you know, we're obviously trying to fill some holes with the FPV drone and just things that I realize like I sort of need for when I travel. Like we have some stuff coming for the Air 2S next.
Oh, nice.
So like I look at things and I'm thinking, I'm like, you know what, this would make my life a little bit handier. So that's what we're like. Everything we design is trying to fill a void of something that's missing or something that could make something easier. So it's not just like printing it to look cool. It's printing it to fix a problem or to make something a little bit easier.
And you've sold like 300 orders in a month, right?
We filled this past month we filled 300 orders. Last month was about 150. So in total we've got 500 products out there, you know, 500 orders essentially.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty crazy. And then we have, I don't think people realize, like I have my buddy Ethan, he's working with me on this. So him and I design the products. We go back and forth between the both of us, revision after revision. Because one of the things we like to do is when we test the products is make sure that it's not going to hinder the performance. Because the last thing we want to do is design something that's going to crash somebody's drone.
Yeah, of course.
So we test it. We usually test them for about like 2 weeks or so in various situations to make sure it's safe. And then once we develop, it's safe, then we put it out, publicly.
And the only one I have, but the one I think is just absolutely brilliant, spot on, is that battery cover, right?
The battery cover, yeah.
Because the fact that DJI FPV lands on the battery, that is such a huge thing to protect it, to keep it clean. Also, those batteries, because when you slide them into the drone, there's a very tight tolerance. Have you ever noticed, like, if your battery gets dirty, you hear this kind of gritty sound when you slide it in and out? It's like kind of those protect it from that too. So, where can people go to check this stuff out?
So if they want to check it out, they go to we made a website. It's called OriginaldoBoStore.com. The latest product we just launched. Let me see if I grab it.
And Sean, thank you for muting. I think we were getting a lot of noise from you, so thank you for muting if you did.
So we just developed this. This is the loss mount for the FPV controller. So obviously as DJI starts tweaking, and people start getting the beta app where it has telemetry, this will become a lot more prevalent once that beta app is public, where you can see telemetry. So then if you don't want to fly it with the goggles and you have a problem looking at the goggles, well, now you can fly it line of sight. And that's what we named it after. It's the line of sight takeoff mount, or the loss mount. And we made it to where you don't need tools. So you can basically just pull it off just like that. But if I put it on, we have it in a way like it's so crazy. Like you can sit there and just, it's all day
well
long.
Attached.
It's well attached, but you can have a lanyard on there too. So.
And it's TPU?
No. So this is actually a plastic. It's a PLA plastic. And then we have a metal hinge. You got your phone holder, which can hold up to like a Galaxy Note, like a large phone. And then it flips forward, and it's done. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
is that one's available now as well?
Yeah, that one's available now. We have it in 2 colors. It's black or silver. We just launched the silver version today. Every time we test a new material, we want to make sure that material is strong. So we always want to make sure it's working. So.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to get my phone flipped back around.
Oh, I wondered, because it's like you're walking the dog around the lake.
Yeah, I was trying to shut him up, but now my camera won't flip back.
Well, so I recognize exactly where you are. Like, because I think we skateboarded down past that area.
Yeah, see, there's
that's that little trail.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I would love to come, especially planning. Now, that I was moving offices, and that was part of what was going on this year. I'm all moved into my new space, and I was telling Ken that the new office is smaller, but it has a bigger studio. But right now, today's our last day officially, because it's the end of the month for our old lease. So basically, my guys and I just stuffed everything into this new space. So it's stacks and stacks of shelves and tripods and C-stands and lights and just all this stuff. And I'm planning to take my Cinewoop and throw the Insta360 Go on it and fly through it all on Monday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like literally, it's kind of like, not to nerd out on Harry Potter too much, but I think it's the room of requirement where they have all that junk. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So,
oh man. That'd be fun. That'd be fun to fly through.
Sorry, guys, I cannot get the camera to turn around. I don't know if my touchscreen stopped working or what.
Yeah, you have.
I might have to X out and join you right back, maybe.
Okay, here I'll let you out, and then I'll send you a new thing. I was also going to see if anybody wanted to call in. So I'll tell you what, Sean. Let me X you out. I'll take a few calls, and then I'll bring you back in at the end.
Sean, you can take my spot when I go, because I'm going drinking. Not saying that's not that this is not more important, but I promised my brother-in-law.
Of course you are. All right, give me like 10 minutes, Kelly. I'm going to actually head back to the shop.
Okay, cool.
I'll join you.
Oh, shoot. I think I just killed Dono. Yeah, I did just kill him. All right. Well, that's all right. So, for everyone who is watching right now and wondering what the heck just happened, I X'd out both Ken and Sean by accident. Next week, I am going to have my show of First Friday. I have giveaways to do next week. I do want to talk about Spin Up next week. I have some great footage from my Cinewoop that I'll be showing off next week. Got a lot of stuff that I want to show in there. Yeah, hashtag don't kill Dono. Too late. I just got a little crazy with the fingers there. So if Ken comes back, then that's good. But if not, I'll take a few calls and see if anybody wants to dial in. So let's see if we can get a call going here. The fan line is 256. Oh wow, I've got someone calling in already. Let's check it out. Hello, who's on? Anybody there? Can you hear me? Huh. Okay. Well, that was weird. I can hear. I feel like I can hear somebody there, but this is like one of those late night calls you get, with just the heavy breathing. Is that Chris from Sunrise Water Media breathing heavy on me? Okay. Well, you know what? Let me see if I can get Dobo back in here. I really didn't mean to hang up on you, Dobo. Sorry about that. That was a big mistake. And let me just say hi to everybody out here in the audience. We've got, of course, Mike B. We've got prank call. Thanks, Jody. Drone shots in the house. We've got, of course, Sunrise Water Media. We've got SC Aerials, Ben T, who said there was a storm earlier. Oh, there we go. That must be Dobo. Let me bring him back. There you are. Hey, man, sorry about that.
Yeah, you just sort of hung up on me.
I did. Like I did. I got a little fat finger there with hitting the Sean going out. Well, so
yeah.
you said you have been super busy with not only doing not the 3D printing, with traveling, and now you're going out and you're going to unplug and have some fun with your brother-in-law.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I think we're gonna unplug. Like, I'm gonna unplug basically the entire weekend. I've been going pretty crazy past like couple of months, like 6-7 videos, or some weeks 5 videos a week type of thing. And I think that's mentally taxing. And I've just sort of reached a peak to where I'm like, I just need to unplug a little bit, Family time. I think it's good.
Do you find that when you do a bunch of videos right in a row like that, like 5-6 videos in a week, that does it actually help with channel momentum for you?
It depends. If like when it's a new release, yes. If there's not a new release, no. So like with the Air 2S, it's obviously the hottest thing, and it did great. But what I also find is that first generation DJI products are the best.
Yeah, like the FPV. Like it's
the FPV drone was just amazing, and it was amazing for a couple of reasons. Not because it was just a new release product, but it also it drummed up interest in FPV. So I can go out and fly my normal FPV stuff, and people were like, "Oh wow, I want to watch that. I'm sort of interested in this now," as to where before they didn't. So, and I was pretty heavy and hard on that, and I think I sort of had an opinion change on it just because I saw what it did for the overall industry. I think it was really good. It had an adverse effect, but I think it was good. I think it was really good. I think it, having more interest is always a good thing.
Well, it's growing the hobby, right? It's getting more people familiar with it, more people to know what it's all about.
Exactly.
And it's also one of those things where until you put the goggles on, it's so hard to explain what it's like. It's not something you can just really tell somebody. They have to do it.
Yeah, it's funny. It was April 30th was the first day. April 30th, 2020 was when I started flying FPV. I was looking at my time hop.
Exactly a year ago.
Exactly a year ago, I was looking at Time Hop, and I was seeing that was the first day I started playing with the Tiny Hawk.
Nice.
And then I look a little further ahead. I'm like, oh, I built my first quad the week after, and that's when I started seeing my bank account become depleted.
Thank God for 3D printing, right?
Yeah, thank God for that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been a great year flying. I mean, there's nothing like it. Nothing even comes close to the the feeling you get, whether you're good, bad, it doesn't matter. It's just everybody's going to have that same feeling. And I think it's just absolutely awesome.
Well, you've become a really good pilot in a year. I thought you had been flying a lot longer than that. I didn't
Yeah,
realize.
it's just been a year.
I didn't realize. And I'll tell everybody kind of my story from I dabbled in FPV for since 2016, right? Because as a drone channel and as a larger drone channel, I got sent a lot of stuff. So it was like
Right.
GearBest is sending me something, Banggood sending me something. Oh, these knockoff Fat Shark Commander goggles or whatever. So they're sending me goggles, they're sending me FPV, and I was just kind of like, okay, this is fun. I enjoyed it, but I couldn't get over some of the technical hurdles early on, especially with
Right.
regard to analog and trying to figure out how to fly without breakup at any distance. I'm not Doc Murdoch who understands every little antenna. But then when digital came out last year and I started flying that was really the game changer for me. I did 10 batteries a day for a week, and I went from just, only flying in stabilized mode to being able to do acro pretty competently. And that's what it takes. It's
Yeah.
just consistent practice.
I stayed on analog for quite a while because I really wanted to make sure I wasn't going to destroy my digital stuff. But then when I finally made the transition, I was like, yes, this is awesome. Like I noticed my skill level, on digital, my confidence level went through the roof. And now I try to fly at least 4 packs today. Traveling with Sean, I didn't get a chance to fly like I wanted to every day because it was different. It's different scenery. So you're
Yeah.
not flying, freestyle. And that's what I typically do fly is I'll fly freestyle. And then I had to sort of switch gears. I'm like, okay, wait a second. I can't do what I used to do because that's not going to work for this scenery. So you have to sort of change gears. But that was fine. I mean, we flew a lot. Flying the Mavic, the Air 2S, that sort of reignited my passion for camera photography, camera drones.
It's an amazing little guy.
It's an amazing drone. It's so amazing. I ended up selling my Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah.
I got tired of dealing with the battery swelling all the time, and just it's a bigger drone. And to have something as small as this, like this to me is like makes a difference in my camera bag, because when you're traveling with FPV stuff, then I have to choose, well, how many batteries can I bring? Can I bring a full size radio, or do I only bring, or can I, where am I going to put my goggles? So this is like for me a no compromise drone because I can bring a lot more in my gear bag than I could before. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with this drone. It's probably like right now it's my favorite thing.
And did you get the so if you get the Fly More combo, obviously they give you the ND filters, but I have not seen any aftermarket polarizers for it yet.
It's funny.
Does Freewell have them or anything?
So they were asking me if I could get them the outer shell. They needed the dimensions, which is funny because sometimes they get that stuff beforehand.
Right.
And as much as this drone had leaked, I was just shocked that they didn't already have early access. They're over in China.
Yeah.
They're not a Chinese company per se, but they're manufacturing. I talk to Harry all the time, and he goes, I can't get my hands on the outer filter. So I know they're working on it now. I know they have their hands on it now, but it's just sort of weird how, as much as it leaked, they weren't able to get filters out at launch, which I just thought was weird.
They make high quality stuff too. I've always really liked the Freewell filters and particularly the polarizers, but I've not been able to find a polarizer. And then I mentioned to you when we were chatting the other night that the other thing I haven't been able to find is a mount, FPV mount for the Go, the Insta360 Go 2.
We got one for you.
Oh, cool. That's
so we designed 2 for you because I think you'll appreciate the second one because it will give the Instago a unique perspective. I'll leave it as that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it, man. I'll make a video about it.
I think you look up the term 3PV.
3PV. Okay.
3PV. So when you're done with this, look up 3PV, and Tommy from Umagod should come up. But it's just a cool look. It's a cool look, especially with the Instago. So we got you covered.
And it is a little bit bigger than the original one. So
it is slightly bigger. Matter of fact, I was arguing with Insta1 yesterday over them trying to send me out one. They're such a short supply of these things. that they can't get enough of them out. And I'm like, well, like, don't ask me to look at it if you can't send it. It's like, all right, well, so I ended up buying it somewhere else, which is fine because I needed it for testing purposes, but it's a very capable little camera and you can really get a lot of quads, under that 250 gram mark by using that. So I think that's important too.
Yeah, and I think you and I were talking about this a while back as far as it's what 1440 is the max resolution on it.
Yeah, it's a stretch 1440, but 2K is more than enough. Honestly, 1080p is more than enough for most people.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's perfectly fine. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I'm over 4K. You put out 5 or 6 videos a week, you want to be able to edit those as fast as possible. And anytime I start messing around with, let's say, 4K,
Your hard drive's
man, it
full.
really it fills up storage and it just
Yeah.
slows down the entire process. I mean, it's sort of crazy. Doing a 5K video slows me down tremendously. Edit in the 5K footage, and I've got a pretty big, well-spec computer, and it brings this computer to a screeching halt.
Yeah,
So,
it doesn't seem practical for people that are going to end up
no.
watching something on their phone.
No, it's just one of those things. People like to say, "Hey, I've got the best. I've got 5K, I've got 6K, I've got 8K." It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, your average Joe is just not going to know. They're going to know whether or not they like the colors, whether you got a cool shot or not, and the rest
Yeah.
doesn't matter. The rest doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's all about the content being relevant and teaching people something or whatever. But
Exactly, man.
well, I know you want to get out to hang out with your brother-in-law. I really appreciate you jumping on with me tonight. I will, if it's all right, I'll let you go, and then I'll try to bring Sean back in.
Bring Sean. I know
time.
Sean's a good anchor, man.
He is.
But,
Sidekick.
Yeah, I can't wait to hang out with you guys, though. I definitely want to set up, going back out to Colorado. It's sort of unfair. He's got such a nice scenery, and we got to keep going to him.
Yeah.
But it's a damn nice scenery, and it's fun to fly, and it'd be cool to get everybody out there.
Florida's got its merits.
It's hot. We've got spiders, we've got alligators, and we've got I don't know. We've got a lot of different things.
But so I'd say Florida in like February, March would be really nice, right?
Yeah, it's been decent now. Like I'm still flying, and I'm not like sweating my butt off. But it's nice. Tampa's a good spot. It's like a happy medium right now. So
yeah, no, Texas is. I mean, it's very similar. It gets really hot and humid here, and I'm not looking forward to that. I do get to go up to my wife's parents' house in upstate New York every summer, and that's a great break from the heat. Like
I'm looking forward to seeing those videos now that you've progressed with your skill level and everything. It's gonna be cool to see what you do up there.
Not some place you want to be in December or January though, because it is really cold up there. All right, buddy. Well, again, thank you for hopping on. I'll bring Sean back.
Thanks for having me.
And have fun with your brother-in-law, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, adios. All right, let me see if I can get Sean back in here. Let's see, boom and boom. See if this all works the way I thought it would. Yeah, so I'm seeing some people mentioning some things about the Polar Pro May 30th. Somebody said that's Bill. And I assume you're talking about Polar Pro. Oh, Polar Pro has Air 2 ND filters coming out, taking pre-orders. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of surprising because most of the time when at least in my experience with new DJI drones, they give the manufacturers those access to the specs so that those can be built and ready to go when everything comes out. But I haven't been able to find any. I have found ND because DJI makes the NDs, but I haven't found any polarizers yet. Well, I don't see Sean coming back in, but that's okay because we're coming up on that hour, and I don't like to step on Greg's toes. If you want to go over and check out Ozz by Drone, I'm sure he's getting started here pretty soon. Thank you guys for joining tonight. As I said, next Friday, I intend to have a lot more information about Spin Up and do some giveaways and do a big show. So be sure to tune in next Friday. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you joining tonight. And we will see you next time on next Friday. Hey, Dad Random, good to see you. You guys take care, and we'll talk to you soon.